This is real talk, ladies. I think there is so much shame and so much guilt associated with putting ourselves first because we're so good at serving everybody. We're so good at giving. We have like this magical ability to just give. We can be sick and drive our kids to school. We go and grind because we can. No ego here, but truth. But if we just learned how to drop into a rested state and recover, we probably could accomplish more better the following day. So being in service to myself is a deep new commitment that I am making as a woman, and I would tell every woman, figure that out. When to pause. The strongest people know when to surrender.
Welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. I'm Kelly Noonan-Gorse, and every week I speak to the leading doctors, healers, spiritual teachers, and scientists to find out what is truly possible when it comes to healing. I also interview real people with extraordinary healing stories. My philosophy is, what's possible for one is possible for all. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful journey of remembering our divine nature and tapping into the truths that shall set us free. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Gorse, and today I get to have kind of a different conversation because I just get to hang out with my friend, Brooke Burke, and just shoot the shit on all the things.
Let's go. It's about time. We are long overdue.
So long overdue. So for those of you who don't know about Brooke Burke, which is probably no one.
No.
Brooke is an entrepreneur, television personality, and women's health advocate who founded the intentional wellness app Brooke Burke Body and Soul.
You say that so well. It's hard to get that out in one line.
She currently serves as the host of the CW's magic competition series Penn and Teller, Fool Us, as well as Shop ET on Entertainment Tonight. The winner of the 7th season of ABC's Dancing with the Stars, which is so amazing because I have so many friends that happen to work on that show.
Hardest thing ever, Kelly, ever.
I mean, it's like a dream, like to do that though. But yeah, we'll talk about that too. Brooke served as co-hostess of the show from season 10 to season 17. Oh, of Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
So cool.
Much easier than dancing.
Yeah. I know. I would fall on my face. I would be a terrible contestant.
You'd probably win then because that's what they want.
Oh my God. She is also widely recognized for hosting the E! Network travel show Wild On back in the day, and the CBS music competition series Rockstar, among others. The list goes on. You do so much. And you're a mother of 4 women, 4 girls, young girls.
I always wonder, do I put that in first position in my bio before you get exhausted by the long list? But you too. I mean, you're doing it all as well.
Well, I'm like, we're going to dive into working motherhood because I have 1 child and lots of help. And I don't cook, and I'm struggling. And you like have 4 daughters. I'm sure you have help, but you cook meals and you have this whole, I mean, you're.
Thank you.
I just admire you so much.
I appreciate that.
How do you do it?
I don't know. I was listening to you say 1 child. I feel like my children now are finally at an age where they're sort of raising each other. And I guess I didn't know any different. I had Nariah and Sierra back to back, and then I redesigned, reinvented, started over, did it again, had Rain and Shia. Scott has 2 kids now. So if you could imagine the scene in my household with not all 6 children, 5 children at home, plus friends and boyfriends and girlfriends, it is a crew. It is an absolute crew. And actually tonight I've requested family dinner. So I'll leave you. I'll go visit my girlfriend who's recovering from a little surgery today and then get back home. And I don't know, that kind of family time and that time in the kitchen is really special time for me. It's not a chore. All the other stuff is a chore. Mm-hmm. The driving, the school, the meetings. But I love it. I don't know anything different. I always wanted a big family.
Did you have a big family growing up?
Lots of half-sisters and brothers, lots of them. My father had a lot of children. So I didn't have the family, I guess, that I hoped to have one day. Great relationships with all of them differently, but we didn't all grow up in one household. So very chaotic, very complicated family. I think I wished and willed and manifested all of the things that I didn't have. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, and I imagine just having that village, and even though it's a blended family, to have all the kids of various ages around and then to have family dinner, like that's like grounding because you're out in the world, you're a personality and you've been in entertainment for a very long time. So it's nice to like have that grounded home.
It is grounding,
life.
Kelly. I mean, that's very well said. It's chaotic and it's messy, which I do really well with messy, if you know me, my messy, fabulous life. But it is foundational. And it does, I think, allow me to do all of the other things I do and put them into perspective, because what happens at home is really the most important part of my life. And I learn from all of them. We learn from each other. I learn so much from my children. I wish the younger mom knew what I feel like Rain and Shia have gotten a much better version of me than Naraya and Sierra.
And of course, Naraya and Sierra got exactly the mom they needed.
Oh, I hope so. I always go back and I tell this to new moms, and it might not make sense. I know that it will to you. Probably everything I share with you will make sense to you. That's why I adore you. But they really did choose me. And it depends on what you believe in, but I think that all of my children chose me. I didn't choose them. And they came when I was ready, when I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of get ready.
And you just do it.
You just do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love that I've heard you say in a different podcast, like, we're raising each other. Like, they raised me, totally. I learned from them, they learned
totally.
from, we're all, and that's like, Riley is my almost 6-year-old.
How old is Riley? Almost 6. Oh my gosh,
I know.
remember when you just had her. God.
Isn't that wild?
Time's just flying by.
Flying by. And it's such an opportunity to reparent yourself.
It is.
To give yourself and I'm doing it every day, and then I forget, and I'm, a total failure. But they teach us to, they trigger us and to show us the places that we haven't maybe worked. I think
so.
Yeah.
And I think my children have taught me really how to listen and not react, and how to pause and how to take in information. I didn't know how to do that as a younger mom. I don't think I knew how to do that until, vulnerable here, probably late 40s, because you're learning and you think you know what you don't know, and you're trying to figure it out, and you're failing and you're winning, and it's just so colorful. But I really learned how to listen from my children. I have to. And I try to teach them how to listen, and they don't, but it's so interesting when there's no ego in rearing a family and learning and allowing yourself to learn from all of the different personalities. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's hard.
You talk about, like, you have to have a lot of grace with yourself and your kids. And like, I've had the same 2 nannies since kind of like her birth.
You're lucky.
So lucky. And they're both very different, very, so, we have like the athletic one from Brazil, and then we have the, like, emotionally, she did all the training to be like, and she's
good for you though.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And so we're on this group chain with everybody that's been in her life for a long time, and they always send like these younger photos of her, and I'm like, I was in like kind of a stress cloud, and like struggling in my own just survival mode, just because of the complicated dynamics of my life. And I look back and I'm like, God, I wish I could do it over with what I know now, and that's only like a few years ago.
I do know what you mean. And I think sometimes it's not that we miss moments, but we forget moments for exactly what you said, because you're in survival mode, and the levels of anxiety, the ability, the bittersweet curse that we have to disconnect to allow us to do what we do as mothers. And I say that carefully, but it is true. Can you imagine if we were all in emotionally to every moment that's challenging in our life for a gazillion reasons? We wouldn't even be able to show up and go to work every day. Yeah. So I look back and I go, gosh, I don't remember that year of my life or that season for sure. Or it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride, Kelly, it is.
And you just do your best, and you learn and you grow, and you have grace with yourself. And
I think grace is like a beautiful word that you choose to describe that, because to share that with other women, to be okay with doing your best, to be okay when it's not great, to be okay with just your best, and to know that that's good enough, and you're going to get it wrong. I always tell women that you're going to get it wrong. Be okay with getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Don't make that same mistake again. But you're gonna fuck up and get it wrong.
Yes.
I'm okay with that. And grace, like, I wish women would give themselves more grace in all areas: life, love, hormones, aging, just give yourself some grace. It's all happening.
Oh my God.
All happening.
That's the title of this podcast. Like grace and all of that stuff. Parenting, hormones, aging.
And equanimity. I mean, I love that word because I didn't have that capacity as a younger mom. And now I really strive for just, I love how you started this podcast, and I don't know that your listeners will see that or understand that, but to watch you sit in your space and take a breath and just take a moment. Most people never give themselves a moment, a breath. We stop breathing, we stop connecting, I think. But to take that moment, I love that you did that. I've done, I can't even tell you how many podcasts. I've never seen somebody do that. And I do that before I perform or walk on stage, or if I'm stressed out or I have fear, or I don't really have a lot of anxiety, but when I'm anxious, you got to take a breath and just calm down for a second and just check in. I love that you did that.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to do that, I guess, as a woman my age and a mother, so that I can take a breath and just listen and not react and pause. And that's where I show up.
Yeah. And you model it for your kids.
And I didn't know how to show up like that younger.
Yeah. No.
So good for you, Kelly.
No. Last week, I think it's no. But all the work that I've done and all the kind of challenges I've been through, and I'm not playing a violin here. People are dealing with far greater things than I've had to go through in the last few years. But everything points to like true enlightenment, happiness, health, everything is your ability to be in the present moment. And breath is everything. And, grabbing the reins of your mind through practices like meditation, so you can be present and you don't get hooked down the river of your negative stories, which I do still every day. And even yesterday, I was like, God, my mind is on a negative loop, but at least I can catch it and become aware and like get into the observer.
At least you're aware of that, though. I mean, winning, Kelly, in that space. I'm doing a deep dive most recently into my yoga practice and trying to be a more, what would you call it? I don't want to say, well, yeah, I guess educated yogi, because I kind of make it up as I go, and I have my own unique way that I teach and guide. Yeah, which a real yoga expert would call it messy. I'm okay with that. But one of the things that came up is exactly what you said that I was studying last night, that it's about awareness and space and exploring space, like a space inside. And I really think you have to calm down and check in to even explore that. As a woman, your emotions, where you sit hormonally, life, challenges, triumphs, all of it. It's really interesting what happens when you calm down and just breathe into that space. Joe Dispenza says that all the time, exploring the space around space. I was like, that's so odd. But I spent a lot of time thinking about that, the space around the space that we're in. It's really interesting. Yeah. Strange, but interesting.
I know. Joe is so strange. We love Joe, but he's so strange. But then it like after you do it for a while, you're like, oh, I get it now.
It makes sense. You got to sit in it for a while. Yeah. But yeah, you're so right. So right.
And yeah, like I love how, again, the mom guilt. I would love to hear your genius wisdom experience and learnings around balancing, having boundaries around like knowing, okay, I'm off, I'm unresourced. I need to. It's actually not selfish of me to take a moment and like go to this retreat or do this workout and cancel a thing and like tell your kids like I need 3 hours where I don't talk to anybody or whatever it is. How do you navigate that self-care versus like caring for others?
I love hearing you even say it, because if we can give words to it for people that are listening, this is real talk, ladies. I think there is so much shame and so much guilt associated with putting ourselves first. And I never did that as a younger woman. I was so last on the totem pole and doing pretty well there. I just thought that's how it is. And I was probably cruising at a pretty good speed. Disconnected, yes, but I didn't know better. Because we're so good at serving everybody. We're so good at giving. We have like this magical ability to just give. We can be sick and drive our kids to school. Not many men can do that. Sorry, guys. But true story. We can just show up and do whatever we need to do because we have this magical ability as mothers that was granted to us. Thank you, Mother Nature. But it's also a bittersweet curse. So most recently, I've been developing some workshops in the concept, tell me what you think of it, of being in service to ourselves. Because we're really good at serving other people. Our men, our work, our staff, our business, our children. But we're not great at serving ourselves. And it wasn't until, I want to say 40s, when I really learned how to put myself first without any guilt associated or narcissism or anything. Let Americans really connect with that concept. Knowing that I'm a better mother, partner, lover, businesswoman, mom, friend, all of it. If I really know how to fill my cup. And, we hear that. It's cheeky. We hear that a lot. But I'm talking about like being in deep service to self, period. Knowing when to pause, knowing when to rest. How much more can we get done in a day, productively speaking, if we're rested and attentive and ready? Mm-hmm. Think about it. We grind. I know you. We go and grind because we can. We probably do it 95% better than most people. No ego here, but truth. But if we just learned how to drop into a rested state and recover, we probably could accomplish more better the following day. So I'm exploring that, taking little breaks, listening to my body, putting the do not disturb sign on my bedroom door, telling my kids don't even think about coming in. And this might be 10 minutes. I'm not saying 2-3 hours, but last night I was exhausted. I was feeling a little bit run down. I'm like, what's going on with my body? Is it an autoimmune thing? Is it hormonal? What's going on with me? Is it fuel? Like I geek out and become a detective and ask myself 1,000 questions. You can find me talking to myself. But I was like, I just going to go dump a whole bag of Epsom salt into my bath and put on some music and light my candles and chill out. And I'm telling you, in like 15 minutes, I was reset, ready to deal with the night shift at home. I was in bed by like, 8 o'clock last night. I was tired, but I really had to listen to my body, where I wouldn't have navigated it like that before. Mm-hmm. So being in service to myself is a deep new commitment that I am making as a woman, and I would tell every woman, figure that out. When to pause. The strongest people know when to surrender, when to stop, when to recover, when to reset, when to go have a staycation by yourself, go sleep, go read a magazine, cover to cover, read that chapter, or even like have a cup of coffee without having to microwave it a few times because you're rushed. That's my life. But I don't know. I'm a lot slower now than I used to be.
I think all the work that we've both done, and people listening for sure, it's like ultimately a reconnection with yourself, so that you can have that awareness sooner, so you don't get to the burnout phase, or you don't get to the frustration and project your frustration on the other people that you love, because you're actually just not taking care of yourself.
Totally.
And
you're right.
So much to say here.
I know, but awareness. I mean, I don't even think we're fully awake in our 30s. Most people say 20s. I'm like, okay, let's take it another decade. Yeah. How old are you? I know I'm not supposed to say that, but for sake of our conversation.
I've said it all the time. I'm 45. I'm like now going.
I mean, things are probably just now starting to light up, and maybe it's even like that siren song that is just loud enough now because you have a deeper awareness with self. Yeah. The only way that I can learn and be present is to slow the hell down. I'm a big believer in meditation daily. Hard to do. I've learned I've had to really work hard at that practice. But if I don't slow down and tune in and listen, I'm just missing all of it. I'm missing the signs from my own body. I'm missing my own body language, and not in shape and form, but the actual language from inside. And I was not tuned in. I sure thought I was.
No, yeah, we always do.
Sure thought I had it all figured out.
When we were 20, we thought we knew everything.
We were crushing it.
Yeah. We were like righteous. We're like, this is right and this is wrong. And I see the teenagers and the millennials and the young people today. I don't even know what generation the 20-year-olds are, but
I know.
They're just like, you just at that stage, you think you just know everything, and then you're like 28, 29, 30, you're like, oh shit, I know nothing. And then by the time you're 40, you're like, I know something, and then you wake up at somewhere between 40 and 45 and you're like, wow, I've been abandoning myself for
Yes, Kelly, beautiful.
years.
Yes, abandoning self to survive. Like, how can we start thriving? I've cheeky little quotes I read all the time because we're on the gram, but it's like, how do we thrive instead of just survive during this really complicated time? Like, abandoning self, that's painful for us to hear at our age as women. Like, we would never, right? But people do it all the time and disconnect and just get numb, and it's crazy.
That's why if we can crack that code of like this balance between self-awareness and then knowing that fine line between taking care of ourselves so that we can better service to ourselves, so we can better serve other people, especially our kids and our staff and our work and whatever it is.
It's an art.
It's an art, but like
the art of growing up, the art of aging gracefully, right? Of doing it with grace and awareness. It's so important to slow the hell down and just listen. It's so important. Like, I can't say it enough. Meditation, yoga, whatever you believe in, whatever your practice is, earthing, taking your shoes off, walking on the beach, going outside, getting some vitamin D, sitting in the sun, making yourself a cup of tea, but making it a ritual, creating daily rituals that really serve you, whether it's journaling, writing, reading, listening to music, whatever it takes, to just have a set of non-negotiable rituals that serve you, that make you feel good, that create natural feel-good hormones, that allow you to feel worthy, important,
aligned with the rhythm of nature.
Aligned.
All of those things you just said, like, anchor you in the present moment, whereas society will have us worrying about the future, anxiety, ruminating on the past, depression, or resentment,
more
regret,
caffeine, more energy drinks. If you're tired, if you're fatigued, creating this. It's you and I are in this business. It's kind of gross, how we're. What's the word? I'm losing my train of thought. Fill in the blank, Kelly. How we're just like pacifying it, how we're masking it, how we're just manipulating it, how we're just in this quick fix demand as a society to just fix it and move on.
We just want convenience and comfort.
Longevity. Everybody's on the longevity circuit. Biohacking, and I am as well. But what's it really about? Is it for more energy and to live longer and stronger? And we're reading all those books, and there's so much available. But what about just finding ways to really manipulate our inner wiring and our surroundings around us so that we can kind of drop in and just learn? And I'm a big believer that we have this amazing ability inside of ourselves to, I mean, as you know, not just to heal, but just like to get everything we need. We have this toolbox. We really do. We just don't know how to utilize all of the tools inside and what they're all for even.
No, totally. Our bodies are these incredibly intelligent systems. Like, I've been talking a lot about like dropping into the heart, and as not only for regulation of nervous system and just peace, but also it's an electromagnetic like superpower. And once you start to kind of get into those states in your heart of appreciation and love, like you're sending out a frequency and attracting like a beautiful, that's when you can start to thrive,
And it's so emotional too. I just came back from my retreat in Costa Rica, and I did
why was I not on?
I know, because we're so busy, but I'm going to make you make time to do that. And I never did it as a younger woman either, because I wasn't raised or groomed or taught that, and I didn't even know it existed. And I never could have imagined taking time out for myself just to do nothing. Imagine, Kelly, for a whole week, nothing but self-care. And in one of our workshops, speaking of the heart, it was a deep connection to heart. And I had all of the women, and I had 2 men this year, which was really interesting. I very rarely have men. They're always welcome. Men do different type of work. And I love having masculine grounded energy. It was a completely different dynamic. We'll talk about that later at lunch. But I had everybody write a letter to themselves from their heart. And I've done a lot of transformational letter writing workshops. I'm a breathwork facilitator. I really believe in that. It's always very emotional and eye-opening, and it's always a deep dive into self. But this particular letter was written to self from the voice of your heart, giving your heart a language and a voice. It was so beautiful. It was so tender. It was so emotional. And it wasn't just feeling words and thoughts. It was literally allowing your heart to speak. It was amazing.
Did you do some sort of like prep to get into it?
We did a guided meditation, and we were just wide open. I mean, it was 7 days of meditating twice a day, doing yoga, walking, journaling, connecting with the community, talking, not talking, belly laughter, ugly cries, like you name it, breath work. We did it all. But in this particular moment, it was just giving your heart voice words and allowing it to speak, whether it's, hey, thanks for taking care of me, or where have you been, or I'm hurting, or I'm aching, or I'm breaking, or I'm bleeding, or I need more, or thank you, or thanks for showing up, or
one
hey,
less cup of coffee a day, please.
Or you're ignoring me, or hey, I'm not just going to beat normally and healthfully for you for the rest of your life. Listen up. It was just amazing. Wow. And I'd never done it before, and it was beautiful. But you made me think of that. I didn't mean to pivot down another path.
I love that, because that is like a kind of a spiritual, soulful learning the language of the body. That's like the spiritual language, but the body also has a absolute, like, it will tell you once you start to do these practices, whether it's dropping into the heart or meditating daily or connecting with nature and slowing down, having a ritual around tea. Once you have those times where you slow down, you start to become aware of the subtle messages your body is giving you. And most people are barreling through life so fast that they have to be hit over the head by a 2x4. They're not listening. We're never taught to listen.
It's so true. I was never taught to listen. I have a really amazing mother. I'm so lucky to be raised by a beautiful mother that gives me unconditional love, and she's amazing, but not spiritual. She was romantic and poetic and a lot of great qualities, but this was never a conversation that was ever had between her and her mother. And thank God she was a loving, loving mother. I just wonder what Riley, like what who our daughters grow up to be, knowing that they have the opportunity to become unraveled, to communicate, to not communicate, to cry, to laugh, to express themselves, to fuck up, to like, I'm such a big believer with my children in trying, because I'm not raising them to be who I want them to be. I'm really working so hard to raise them to be who they're supposed to be.
It's
so it's a whole nother podcast, which I would love to unpack that with you. It is hard, but teaching them to live out loud and to feel and to be okay. Like if they come home and they don't want to talk I'm trying to give them freedom and grace to really do that, and also a safe space if they do want to explore something. It's just communication, and that everything that we're speaking about too from the heart is deepening that relationship with self to communicate on a level with yourself where you can learn and meet yourself with compassion and acceptance and awareness and truth, like truth at a minimum, truth, not what we think, but a real truth for conversation. And that's hard to have.
And
that's hard.
And you only really know truth, and your body tells you the truth of what's good for you. Like it contracts or expands based on like frequencies of people in the room, or a yes or a no. That's why muscle testing works. It's like our body actually like will tell us ultimate truth.
And don't you feel like this is all such new technology and new science and new conversations and very controversial, and it's really hard to understand that language, that like fundamental, like scientific, factual, like things that are really happening. This isn't just like what we're, we live in that world, right? And I get it, and I'm okay when people, scientific minds are questioning this little bit of a lighter, more spiritual dialogue. But when we start to connect those dots between spirit and science, it's really fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's everything.
Really
to me. It's all spiritual to me without science can actually is overlapping going, hello.
Totally.
I'll share a proud mom moment, since we also often share vulnerably how we mess up. But I was supposed to go on this 2-week Egypt kind of pilgrimage, and it was gonna be with this amazing group of women, and I've been looking forward to it since last year, and it was in like probably 6 weeks from now, and we've been displaced from the fires, and we've living at a hotel, and we're not settling into like a rental for another couple weeks.
So hard.
And I was like, all signs, I'm like such a sign person. I'm like, 333, that's a sign. I'm totally that girl. So all signs were pointing to like Egypt is happening. Riley's father was like, you cannot be gone for 2 weeks from her. And then I'm like, she's doing great. She's resilient. Like, don't, I'm a little rebellious. I'm like, I can actually do whatever I want because I'm with her 99% of the time. And like, it would be great for you to be with her continuously for 2 weeks. Because we're just juggling the schedule. And I think it'd be really good for her and to be in Malibu or whatever. Anyways, so I'd been talking to her a little bit about it and getting her comfortable. And then that night we went to sleep, and she was like, oh, I'm fine. And she was like really trying to wrap her head around it. She's like, okay, so like we'll do this. And we go to sleep, and she wakes up in the middle of the night, which she hasn't done for years. Yeah. She like goes to sleep and she's out.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I know. And she wakes up at 5 a.m., but she's like 8 to 5. I can guarantee she's out. And she woke up and she totally regressed to like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old self, which she just needs me to hold her, and she shakes. Like she just like shakes her anxiety out. That's her nervous system.
There's also a lot going on in her world right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, woof.
And she'd been so, and I was like, and I'm holding her, and I was like, this is so strange. She hasn't acted like this. But like her conscious self was like, I can handle mom being gone for 2 weeks. But as I'm holding her going, this is so interesting, I heard a voice that said, listen deeper. And I was like, oh, this is her truth. Her truth is like, it's too much change. I'm really not okay with that. And so in the morning, even though I had seen all the signs the day before that I was meant to be in Egypt, I called my girlfriend who was organizing the trip, and I was like, it's just too much change. I can't leave 3 weeks after we settle into this rental. And I like knew that truth. And it's because I've been practicing for 20 years, whether it's yoga, meditation, and tuning in to like that listening deeper.
Riley is so lucky to have you as a connected human being, raising her, loving her, guiding her. I mean, that's so, when you say share that with me, and thank you for trusting all of us with that story, because there's so much to learn from one another. There's so many things that come up. Your freedom to make a choice, your freedom not to go, your freedom, hopefully you got support from your friend that you're bailing on this epic trip, right? It's Egypt. It's not like it's San Francisco. Your freedom to just pivot as a woman and to just take ownership of what you need to do, not only for Riley, but for you as well, like as a connected human being, loving mother. It's amazing. And I don't think many people know how to do that, to slow down and go, listen a little deeper. What's really going on? What is this really, really about? I actually thought the story was going to go a different direction. I thought she was going to wake up and give you space and encouragement to go. And we don't always get to do what we want to do as a mother. And it reminded me of something, and I may have told this story before, maybe not. I'll speak super fast. But when I had signed on to do The Apprentice, which was such a wild ride when Trump had stepped down and Schwarzenegger was in it, and it was literally in Marina Del Rey. It wasn't like it was that big of a deal, but I have so many children that I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be grinding in this like radical business mode for 2 months, working 15 hours a day. This is going to be really hard for me, and I don't know if I can separate that much to really focus on business and not mommy in the middle of it. And it was a really hard show to do. And everybody moved into this hotel and stayed in the hotel, and I was like, I need to drive home every night, which is going to be 2 more hours on my day, and I'm already on a 15-hour, but I got to do it because I need to be at home. So I worked it out with a couple special favors so that I could come home every night. And I remember my daughter crying, and she must have been, I'm thinking how many years ago that was. She must have been about Riley's age. And she was just like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it, and if I can be away from you, because you drive me to school in the morning. Now you're not going to be able to drive me to school. And who's going to make my lunch? And you're going to be gone. And then what about dinner? I'm not going to see you for dinner. And it was this whole thing. So I was like bleeding inside, dying inside. I'm dramatized, but I'm like crying. She's crying. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? And I was actually doing it for charity as well, because that's really why you do a show like that for Operation Smile. And I had to sit down with her at the tender age and try to explain to her that there's all these children in the world like that really need mommy's help, and I'm really doing this so that I can raise money for them, and maybe I'm going to win, and maybe I'm going to be able to change like 1,000 children's lives. And so I'm trying to have this very mature conversation, but I needed her to get on board with me, or I knew I couldn't do it. I cried, she cried, we talked. She really understood it because they've been working with Operation Smile since they were little. And sure enough, she was like, Mommy, they really, really need you. And I really want you to do this. And it's really going to be hard. Can you imagine? And so I was able to do it. And it was really hard for me. It was harder for me than anybody knew, because I had to put my war paint on. And I love your tenderness, but you get it. Yeah. I was just like, how am I going to do that when my main focus and my purpose and my commitment is to my children? How am I going to? It's the same thing you went through. So when you're saying that, I'm like, oh my God, yes. I remember the million choices, and some of them I made the wrong ones. And, now it's just that open line of communication and putting our kids first, but allowing us to serve ourselves and serve other people, and have that dialogue and just do fucking hard things. I know. Hard things.
And like honor this calling and like this creative need or whatever drives you and service. And like our work is important to us. Like I have to express, I have to do what I'm doing. I wish I didn't have to. I would love to just like be on a chaise lounge reading a novel.
Being connected and being aware is so much harder. Just truth. Yeah. I know, It's so much harder because you're aware of everything and you're guided by what feels right? You're guided by truth. It's so much easier to not be fully alive and connected and aware.
I know it's miserable, but it's easier for sure. Probably.
I think you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. It's really hard because I'm like, what is more important, me being with my daughter every single second of every day, or her seeing a mom that's creating and expressing and, you know, hopefully positively impacting people's lives. And it's a balance because I do need to be as present as I can be with her and have quality time and just be present and also
choices.
It's just
and communicating
hard.
through that, because there are going to be times where you don't get to say no to this, and every no has a yes, right? Every yes has a no. Every single yes has a no.
And we're going to mess up and we're going to choose poorly sometimes. And then you go, okay, I'm going to do better next time.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's all going to be okay, no matter how bad it is.
You have 4 daughters plus 2.
Can you imagine?
Are they boys or girls, Scott's?
Boy, girl. So I have 3 daughters and Cheyenne, and Scott has 2. So we are raising 4 daughters and 2 sons. And it's wild. Wow. And they're all different. And on some days you don't know who shows up. It's the same thing for us at our age as women, with hormones and menopause and all of it. And you know, I'm doing this 66-day journal experience that I started in the retreat, and it's 4 questions a day, and it's really pretty profound. But one of the questions is, who are you today? And it's really about like allowing, I think as women, allowing ourselves to show up differently every single day and really explore who you are on the daily, and not be so confined to all of the titles and everything that we think we're supposed to be, or the shoulda, coulda, woulda, or who society says that we are. It's not our titles and our roles, but really who we are. And I've never done it daily. It's really interesting. And even though it's like one question, I'm trying to journal every day. It's so hard, Kelly. But sometimes I'm like, who am I today? I don't know who I am today. Or who do I want to be today? Or who am I choosing to show up as today? There's so much freedom in it. I'll share it with you. It's really interesting. I know.
I had so much guilt in, you know, ending the marriage, you know, this last year. I literally struggled so much with grief and guilt for 6 because I was raised Catholic and you're not supposed to get divorced, and my parents are still married. And also like I wasn't allowing myself to have changed and grown over 15 or 14, however many years, you know, and it's like, I am a different person today than I was back then, and we have to give ourselves permission to evolve.
You have to, and a lot of women don't. And you know, going through 2 divorces, I would have bet my life and everything that I had that I would stay married forever, and it was absolutely necessary that I didn't. And it wasn't until I partnered up with change, like I really had to surrender. I had to stop the guilt. I had to allow myself room to grow and evolve, but I also had to really be okay with change. And I also had to be okay in sharing the need for change with my children, and let go of that idea that they don't get to grow up with a forever family and believing that love is forever and you live happily ever after. And you get like, I mean, that was the gut-wrenching, really hard reality check for me. I had to do a lot of forgiving. I had to do a lot of accepting. I had to do a lot of redesigning. I also had to let go of a lot of ideas that I had about myself, life, love, and family, without the skill set and the tools and the experience to really navigate that new time that you're in, reinventing, redesigning, recreating, but also just learning how to love myself differently. And I was really married to the idea of marriage, the concept of marriage. I really was.
Me too.
Fuck. I mean, it's just,
it's like a death of a relationship.
It's like a death.
Ideal.
It is a death, and there is a grieving and a mourning. I would have bet my life on it that I would have never, ever broken up a family. And even that word is not the right narrative, right? But I get it. I mean,
Well, we're going to have a whole other podcast about parenting
Part
and then
2.
blended
Part 3.
families and divorce and all of that stuff. But I want to touch on menopause real quick, because you have navigated being, you know, on covers of magazines and a fitness like guru and just this beautiful presence as your career, and to navigate menopause so gracefully.
God, does it look like that?
Yeah, good. How do you do it? What do you do?
Does it really look like that?
And you're a detective. You're figuring out what works. So share with us the secrets of how to stay ahead of it. Or
I'm so in it. So I mean, definitely we need to do this again because it's a big conversation, and I'm very committed to sharing my experience and bringing in experts and doctors, and never claiming to be that. But what I'm really frustrated with right now in menopause is the mindset of it and the way that we're approaching it. And I'm telling you, it's happening. The body's changing, energy is changing, the skin elasticity is changing, the belly fat is changing, the BMI, the list goes on and on and on. The libido, the energy, all of it, okay? All of it's fucking changing. But if we can change our mindset or our point of view and really start to show up differently, because our body is showing up differently. And that's what I'm obsessed with right now. If our body is changing forever, and it is, it's not just the reproductive years and hormone. It's a whole long, it's a whole long list of things. But if our body is changing all the time, we have to change with it. Mm. And women are dreading menopause, peri-menopause, post the decade of distress, the mystery. It's depressing. It's scary. It creates anxiety, poor self-confidence, darker parts of it, and depression. Marriages are ending or ruined. Libido alone and what it does to a relationship and self-confidence and your sensuality and sexuality and sex life is bananas, okay? Real stuff.
This is really depressing.
I'm giving you the dark realities of it. But I am 53. I've never felt better. I understand my body better. I understand how to show up differently for myself as a woman. I understand how to navigate those because I've asked 1,000 questions and I've done a deep dive into understanding all of the reasons why. And nobody taught me, nobody taught us, nobody told us about weight training, nobody told us to eat more protein, nobody told us that it was going to be okay, just at a minimum.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. Menopause is like this mystery that no one was talking about. Thank God, and maybe because we're in it, maybe because we're more aware, maybe it's because all my girlfriends are in it, that we're having an open dialogue, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. And there's actually, I promise you, everyone that's listening, a really positive part of it because the chemistry of the brain is changing. Once you can understand what to do about it, and find confidence in developing a deeper, better relationship with your experts that are guiding you, you can kind of roll through it easier. And that, I want to say that also, and it's a loaded conversation because you might roll through it and not have symptoms. You might choose a natural approach. You might do HRT, which I do. You might not need anything and you might need everything, and you might get what you need and then your body changes again, and then it gets even harder before it gets better, because when you do, if somebody does decide to go that route with HRT, it's also finding that sweet spot that can be really frustrating with weight gain and energy and all of these fabulous things that Mother Nature has dished out to us. But I do think that it's okay, and I do think that you have to learn about your body and get your mojo back and not lose sight of that woman behind the scenes, and change with her and love her and accept her, and be okay when it's really not, on days when it doesn't feel so great and when it's not okay. And it's about love and compassion and self-love, and it's about awareness. It's exactly what we're talking about. Everyone's afraid of it, and I understand that, but everybody's frustrated because it's mysterious, and we have to educate ourselves as women, period. And then manipulate your body.
The more we educate ourselves and understand what's going on, and the more that we have woken up to the fact that we've abandoned ourselves for so long and reconnected to ourselves and start to practice these self-care and love to service to ourselves so we can serve others, then we can start, like, you walk and hold yourself with such a confidence, like I can tell, like, and you're aging gracefully. You're not like putting a bunch of shit in your face.
I'm trying, Kelly.
I have a bruise.
Sometimes a little bit of shit.
Yeah.
I'm trying because I want to be me. I want to be my best self. I want to feel good. I want to look like me. I want to show up differently and understand who I am on the daily. I want to give myself freedom and grace to pivot and change. But I also want to understand what's going on in my body and to be okay on some days when it's not so great, and learn. I'm really looking forward to this decade. I am, and I'm learning how to fuel my body differently, meet my body differently, speak to my body differently, do whatever it takes to feel good, and just grow and evolve and develop a deeper understanding and a greater freedom, by the way, and to love parts of me that I love and to accept parts of me that I don't. And that's a whole nother set of challenges, is how do we see ourselves? I can promise every woman listening that you don't see yourselves the way that anybody else sees yourself. You don't even know what you look like, quite honestly.
I know.
Because you're really looking at a reverse image of yourself. I do a whole workshop on that also, which is wild. And it's a little bit Buddhist and it's a deep dive. But we're not even witnessing what's really happening because we're so in our head.
We have
with
these stories that color our lens.
The inner critic. We're not looking through the lens of love and acceptance. I think that self-love, equates to self-confidence. I think self-confidence is really sexy. I think 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old women are sensual and sexy and divine and can just drop into their goddess energy. And why are we stopping there? What about 90? What about wisdom? What about experience? What about goddess energy, which is timeless, right? Like, what about that? No one's talking about that. They're talking about menopause, that it's coming for you and that it's going to suck. And I really think that menopause doesn't have to suck. We have to change our mindset. Mindset. We have to approach it differently.
Totally. Absolutely. And the story, the patriarchy is like making us feel crazy.
Yes. And everyone's talking about it.
And, we have to love ourselves so that we have different boundaries and we show up in this confidence and know our inherent worth. We've got to really do the work to excavate and really get down to our true divine nature and inherent value.
Right. And love looks good on everyone. If we love ourselves, and it's like self-love, they think we're all so full of ourselves. It's not that. Self-love is self-care. We have to love ourselves enough to take better care of ourselves, to show up for ourselves, and to just, this is a fact. Then you have the spirit's timeless. Be timeless. Be timeless.
Yes. And it comes with acceptance. If we're resisting and we're hating ourselves and in the mirror and we're just constantly beating ourselves up, and especially as things change with hormones or whatever, most of us aren't totally satisfied with what God gave us anyway, so we're trying to change it, and then society will have us thinking that we're not worthy enough so that we buy more shit. So it's like the odds are stacked against us for self-love and self-acceptance.
And it is a business. I mean, it is a full-blown pharmaceutical advertising marketing just monstrosity. It is. So we got to navigate through all of that.
Exactly. We need to be aware that exactly. And the more we accept and love ourselves, then we can show up. So I'm doing this somatic healing because first of all, I haven't really, I've done it, but not with the consciousness that it was somatic healing. Now I'm in this container, and the whole purpose of this, and I'll have him on the podcast later, is to awaken this wild woman within, because
I love that.
I've had her on lockdown because my childhood and that lockdown of control and not letting me be fully
being
wild,
proper and being polite and doing the right
people
thing
pleasing
and being appropriate.
And diplomatic, and that tension is in my body. So as we release that, we're awakening this woman who's just embodied
and is this the first time you've done that?
Yes.
So can you imagine if you could marry that sort of tribal, that sort of wild woman meets I don't even know what appropriate means anymore, but I love that you're choosing that world wild woman, because that's so my jam.
Yes.
And movement, rhythm, breath, freedom, even during retreat time, when I say ugly cries and belly laughter and guttural and finding your voice and being free, finding your freedom as a woman to really explore all those different sides of you, it is such an awakening. I'm so excited to hear you say that. I would love to learn about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Some women will never have that experience. They'll never even scratch the surface. It's so scary to be free.
Yeah.
And freedom is such an important word for the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and beyond.
And maybe Mother Nature is so brilliant that she's like, okay, now that you've held your shit together to keep your children and your villages safe and grown, now we're just going to mess up your hormones so that you have no choice but unleash the wild women.
It's so true. And if you think about it, you should do a little scientific little dive in this, but it's the grandmothers in those tribal settings, right? In those villages that raised the children because they were capable. people cerebrally because they already rolled through all of that shit that you just said. Think about it. It was the grandmothers that were doing it all.
They were the bad bitches that were confident and they're like, no, like tell the men to go off and hunt.
That I'm like, it's coming. It's coming. So I love that. I want to hear all about that.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Please share.
We'll see. Hopefully she comes soon. Wild woman.
Yeah.
So any we love practical tips here. Sure. What you kind of mentioned it, but protein, your overall
for menopause.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of protein. Do not be afraid to weight train. Bust that myth right now. Personally, and it's a very personal desire, I don't want a super muscular physique. It's not going to happen unless I was lifting so heavy with such small reps and ate. I wouldn't even have time to be here. I'd be eating. I'd be home pounding protein. So really understand and unpack the truth about protein. Weight training is really important. Bone health, bone density, lean muscle mass. Sleep. I can't speak enough about the need for quality sleep to rest and recover. Do
you take anything to help you sleep? Because
I take magnesium. I don't, but I create kind of like a rest nest. I'll give you the 30-second. I never used a sleep mask before. Now I just discovered this one that has copper in it, and it's vanity. It's got these beauty properties, so I'm trying it.
Okay.
But you got to black it out. Yeah. Get rid of the junk light. Get off your devices. And I run a digital business, so way easier said than done. White noise, sleep frequencies. All of the things that we do, whatever it takes to drop into lowering your stress levels to sleep. We got to sleep. And I think we have to eat differently, fuel our body differently. I'm a big believer in fasting, but understand how to fast like a girl. Dr. Mindy Peltz, love her.
Oh my
so
gosh.
smart.
Mind blowing.
We cycle. And it's not just that you're skipping breakfast and you think you're intermittent fasting and fasting. We really have to give our body what it needs. And a lot of it's mindset for me, Kelly. A lot of it's really how we approach it, and changing our energy and knowing that there's an emotional capacity to surviving and thriving through all of this. I take HRT, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. I'm all about it. Give it to me.
It's working.
Thank you. But I get my blood work done every 6 months without fail. I'm a really good patient. And a lot of that's because of autoimmune. So I'm not in a position to screw around with that. IBD, Hashimoto's, I've had thyroid cancer, I have vitiligo, and it just keeps, and I look like a perfectly healthy person. I have to really, really spend time caring for my body. So I check it. And then I'm okay when I'm rolling through it, and I listen to the languages, the body language, the whispers. But you got to know that it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Even when it sucks. Yeah. It doesn't have to suck it's not long term.
Yeah.
Sucking is just a moment in your life.
Yeah. This too shall pass. Yeah. And then find that community that helps you navigate. Girlfriends
find
are
your
key.
Community, your tribe.
And good partners that honor you as this beautiful wild woman.
Yeah, because you're not in it alone, by the way. Whether you are single or in a long-term marriage or with a man who has no freaking idea what's happening, give him some grace too. Because, by the way, men go through menopause also.
Oh.
They go through their own weird thing that no one's talking. I
Is
feel
it
bad
I
for
have
them.
to buy a sports car and date a 20-year-old?
It's not just midlife crisis. Then there's that on top of it, Kelly. There's just so much that's going on that's not talked about. But yeah, you need a loving partner, or you need to define your boundaries as a woman that's able to say, hey, I'm in it and I don't know what I'm in and leave me alone, or I need more of this, or I'm showing up differently, I need you to meet me there, or I don't even know what the hell's going on, but just beware.
Yeah.
There are times where I'll come home and I'll be like, okay, everybody. And it's not that blaming it on PMS anymore, because I'm way past that, but it's just ooh, I'm in it. Yeah. But I give that a voice.
Yeah.
And I do think that society taught us and groomed us that we were going to grow up, we were going to get our period, we were going to feel like shit, we were going to get bloated, we were going to be grumpy, then menopause is coming, you lose your sex drive, your body changes, you don't really? That was not Mother Nature. Okay, mm-hmm. That was society prepping us for all this yuck. And I'm not raising my daughters like that. I'm no, that doesn't really seem right, because maybe I can feel my body differently, eat differently, train differently, create energy, understand it, and then manipulate the F out
Yes.
of it. That's my mission.
Thrive, not survive.
Just thrive. And
we have so much more agency over the life we create.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the good news. That's the good news about menopause that no one's talking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to suck.
So for inspiration, you must follow Brooke Burke if you're in the rapids of any stage of menopause.
More to come. And we are learning also. Like, we're learning as a society and having conversations that our mothers did. And our daughters are going to be damn lucky. But there's so much great information out there and free information on podcasts, on YouTube, seminars, connections, communities. I mean, we do a menopause event. Like, every woman needs to tap into a community that's not afraid to really talk about it, and all of it, and humanize it, and be okay with it.
Humanize. We need to allow for grace and humanity and learnings and mistakes and failures. Thyroid cancer.
Yes.
It's like 10 years ago.
Gosh, Kelly, I know. What was it? 2012? Something like that.
Yeah.
Again, survival. Hardly even remember that time of my life. And the prognosis with thyroid cancer is really great. So I often, would you believe I forget that I ever had cancer?
Because I didn't even know that you had cancer until I researched this, because it's just not, you're not like,
yeah, I mean, I
guess
I just feel so lucky and so strong in my process. And I work with so many women that don't have the same story, that sometimes I even forget, but it's just one of those things that comes along and really shows you that, shit, there's so many things out there sometimes that are stronger than we are. But mindset for me, and you know that, it's such a big part of why I love what you do with the whole heal concept. I had to drop into being a really great patient and then really healing my own body, like mentally and spiritually, in addition to medically what needed to take place. So, very controversial as well. I'm not saying I could have went and healed that, but I had to heal so many parts of it to really be okay with it. And I'm good. I get my blood work. I keep checking it, and
I was just gonna ask, like, because you're so aware and you are this detective, like, what any spiritual ahas of, like, perhaps why it kind of manifested? Thyroid sometimes is around throat and self-expression.
It's interesting. I love these hard questions. I didn't know at the time how connected all of that is with voice, thyroid and that area and the chakra. When I was on Dancing with the Stars, I was losing my voice. I also went through my thyroidectomy and thyroid cancer, and it wasn't related to that, although that surgery, one of the risks is losing your voice because it lays so close to lingual possibilities. But it wasn't physically connected. It was very spiritually connected, I think, for me. And deeper than that, Kelly, since I guess we can kind of go there with your audience, because I know they can take it. I don't think I had a voice. That I was defining my boundaries at that time in my life. I was in a marriage that would soon end. I was working probably 3 jobs and raising 4 children to the best of my ability, not truly connected. I thought I was. I was in survival mode, happy, functioning. I thought I was crushing it. And I was losing my voice. And I really do believe it's because I wasn't super connected. Another medical issue that I went through was I had deep pain in my feet for a period of time where I couldn't even going to Disneyland wasn't an option for me with the kids, because I knew I couldn't walk through a park for half of a day. It wasn't a medical condition. It was that I was just not grounded. And so when I look back in time about spiritual disconnect, soul sickness, like all of those things, I literally was having such pain on my feet that I could barely function. Like, I had to wear a certain kind of a shoe, and it was just weird, and nobody knew what it was. I know what it was now. I was completely disconnected. I wasn't grounded. And it's
life was like, stop doing so much and lay on the couch.
Life was giving me some signs. I wasn't listening. My body was starting to scream at me because I wasn't paying attention to the whispers. And I believe that those sicknesses and those disconnects developed into much greater problems. But it's through that I look back now. And so now if I get a little something in my feet, I go, ooh, I need to go earth.
Yeah.
I need to go get grounded right now. Or I just need to drop back into foundation, into the things that I know spiritually to be true. But I connect all those. I love that you asked that. I haven't thought about that for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you're not using your voice, and if you're not living out loud as a woman, and if you don't have boundaries, and if you're not exploring that and really even understanding what you're using your voice for, I think that you're going to find yourself in trouble, or you're going to find yourself living in a less than space. It's powerful when you define those boundaries, whether it's creating more space for yourself, not feeling guilty, finding your freedom, discovering that wild woman, being okay when it's time to pivot or change or evolve or begin again, whatever it means.
Yeah. Really honoring and reconnecting to yourself and loving everything in all of her evolution and blind spots and waking up.
And you said loving all of her. You know, that came up in this most recent retreat as well. Are you willing to meet all of her? And remember that when we meet again, because I'd love to share with you an experience that I had that would take too long for this pod, because we'll come back and do it again. But meeting all of her, recognizing all of her, even the parts of you, her, I speak third person here, but meeting all of the parts of yourself, and even the ones that you don't like, the ones that you love, the ones that maybe bring you shame, you know, the ones that you're not super proud of, but allowing all of her to really show up at times of your life with full acceptance is a whole thing, Kelly. And I just got goosebumps. I had that experience with myself at this last retreat. And I was like, whoa. I was leading and guiding, and I'm like, whoa, not now. Do you have to show up now? But really being okay to like welcome all of her, give all of her a seat at your table. And that's when you really get to learn.
And that's when vitality is unleashed, because you're not suppressing, resisting, hating,
judging. Freedom. That's what freedom is. Find a space where judgment doesn't live. Freedom. No judgment. Love yourself enough to get really truthful. You don't have a choice, really.
Yeah, you could try to do it consciously, or
it's all going to come up anyway. You might as well get it done now while you have more energy than later.
Exactly. So you're a businesswoman. I want to promote what is your intention with the app? What is it?
Thank you for asking. Yeah. I'm so committed to just
guiding.
Products, thank you. Yeah. Just guiding and leading, but also being a student and doing it better all the time. My app started out as a fitness app, and now Brooke Burke Body is a campus for education. You've been so generous with your time to sit on my panel when it comes to educating women about wellness and wholeness and menopause. It's digital, so I can connect with women all over, and men, by the way, even though men really rarely show up to do this kind of work. But it's about energy and awareness and community and connecting. And I do digital meetups and Zoom, like live stream classes. Used to be Zooms. We don't even Zoom anymore. We live stream. And retreats and in-person things. And I love it. And I love bringing in different experts and creating a space for us all to just show up as a community and do better and be better and feel better and live longer and stronger and all of it. So that's what Brooke Burke Body is. It's a passion project. It's absolutely an act of service, but it's full-time consuming, as you know. But I love it because it makes me feel good when I know that women are learning and feeling better and connecting with the woman behind the scenes and finding a community and a tribe that they can be in that's supportive and loving. And I wish I could do just that, to be honest. And I knock on wood because I love what I do in entertainment. It's just such a contrast.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space to be in, a feel-good space of just healing and guiding and being a light worker and connecting with other amazing, brilliant people that I learn from all the time. Every time I do a retreat, I come back better, and I learn from every single woman that has shared their stories that become mine.
Yeah.
Their stories become part of my stories and mine part of theirs, and I think we're storytellers. That's what you're doing here. We're storytellers, right?
And community is everything. And in order for us to love ourselves fully or love every aspect of ourselves, we need mirrors, non-judgmental, really compassionate,
so true,
like-minded mirrors to reflect back to us so that we can start to, change our subconscious beliefs about ourselves.
You're doing it. I love what you're doing, and thank you for having me on here. And I love you as a woman and a human being and as a businesswoman. And there are so many people in my circle. Your name keeps coming up. And I just feel like you're really living an authentic life, and I want to compliment you on that.
Thank you.
And I know it's not easy, especially when we are in the industry and we are in the light, and everybody's looking and watching and has a certain perception and a story about us that might not be the same story that's really happening. So I know what that feels like, and I know where you are right now because I've been there in some of the hardest years of my life. And I'm here as a friend and a woman.
Oh, gosh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel seen.
Thank you.
Everything. I love
Thank
you.
you. I love you too.
Thank you for listening to the Heal with Kelly podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. Oh, and if you found this episode inspiring, please rate, review, and share Heal with Kelly so that we can grow our audience and reach more people. We truly appreciate it. Lots of love.